Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of, and we've changed the name. It used to be Coffee with Nancy, but now it's the Antidote. We thought it was a more suitable name because we're going to try to be the antidote to everything that's crappy out there. And
That's it.
so today's a special podcast. Nancy O'Brien Simpson, international commentator and psychotherapist. And today we're going to be talking about cancel culture and a specific example that's come up. Nancy, what are your thoughts about some of the crazy cancel culture stuff that's been going on recently?
But first of all, let's define, what is your definition of cancel culture?
For me, it's a pretty negative thing, and so when I think of cancel culture, I think of people being masked, people being silenced. I think of the abhorrent lack of freedom of speech, the lack of political discourse, the lack of, I would say, discussion. There's, I would say, also a lack of investigative research or people actually doing due diligence on what others have said or trying to get understanding or common ground. It's, I don't like what you said. I am offended, and therefore I am going to destroy your life, your livelihood. That's what I think of.
I think you nailed it on the head. The interesting thing about cancel culture is the systematic silencing of views that are not politically correct, deplatforming, doing away with, masking, as you said. And it is like, I don't understand how the people that are doing it and who are supporting it, I don't understand the blind spot that just because I think differently than you, do you really want to silence me? Do you really believe that the only ideas that can be out in the web, in the media world, are your ideas? I mean, is that really what you think is the right way that we should proceed, doing away literally with freedom of speech in the marketplace?
It's true. It does go against freedom of speech. And I know people on both sides of the political spectrum that hate cancel culture, but it seems to be more, well, I would say in larger part directed at conservatives. It seems to be more of a left-leaning, what would you call it, tactic?
Yeah, tactic to silence people who do not believe like you do. Do you remember when I had this, I started a very large locally, 500 people were on my tinfoil page on Facebook. Yeah. And I wanted to start a group where people who had out their ideas and who thought outside the box, outside the matrix, where they could get together and share their ideas, discuss their ideas. And we had Christians, atheists, socialists, libertarians, Democrats. We had some QAnon. We had everything. And we had 500 plus people. And one day I went to Tinfoil Society of Cincinnati Facebook page, and it was canceled. It was gone. It was no more. And there was no strikes, no second chance. It was just gone.
So, yeah, you got canceled by Facebook, right? Because of that, we believe. Not that they gave you any good reason. They just canceled the group, right? And a lot of members were also canceled.
Yeah, and a lot of members were also canceled. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the crazy thing. So the hypocrisy of it also, people in today's world seem to appreciate individuality, right? It's embraced on the left, incredibly so, right? So from all the gender pronouns, so they want to embrace people no matter what walk of life, and they want people to be authentic, they want people to be individuals. Yet as soon as someone speaks up that does go against the grain or against the mob thinking, they're canceling them and silencing them. So I don't see how you can have both worlds, right? You either allow people to freely speak and be themselves, even if you disagree, and actually have a decent argument. And let's face it, if you're going to have an argument with someone over anything that has any substance, you have to be prepared to offend each other. You have to be prepared to say something that the other person might not like. And there can't be a fear of cancel culture, because at the end of the day, you're ruining people's lives, and not just their life, right? You're also ruining their family, most probably. And if, depending on their standing in the community, you could be impacting a community as well, not just today, but tomorrow and the decade after. And the far-reaching consequences of canceling one single person could impact hundreds, if not thousands of lives.
You know, and what you say is so true. And the interesting thing is that people on the left who in the past canceled someone like Alex Jones or Milo, now they're talking about canceling people like Tucker Carlson. Now they're talking about sending people who are Trump supporters to re-education camps, because they truly believe that, especially now with what happened at the Capitol, that people who believe that Donald Trump is good, has good ideas, whatever, these people are dangerous and they need to be canceled. Their ideas need to be wiped out. That they are, if you want the borders, if you want a wall, if you want whatever, you are now so odious to the politically correct that they actually believe you should be canceled, that those ideas should be done away with, and that free speech for the right, sorry about your luck.
Yeah, look, the best way to counteract something you disagree with is to have a discussion about it. Allow people to hear both sides of the argument and make their own opinion.
Yes.
And if you've got more facts and more data on your side, people will believe you.
Yes, and it gets ironed out in America, in a democracy, it gets ironed out in the voting booth. That's where all the ideas come together, and what idea is ascendant is how our political leaders are elected. And we have some Democrats, some Republicans, some liberals, some libertarians, some socialists. And in that mix, we have what's called a democracy.
And you don't want people to be thinking all the same, do you? So it's never ended well.
They do.
But it's never ended well. Just look at history. Group think, group blame, group guilt ends up in the most, I would say, atrocious genocides, right?
Tell our viewers what happened to Gina.
Oh, okay.
Tell them who she is.
So this is the most recent one, who of many.
She is and what happened to her.
So Gina Carano came to fame and quite some time ago in the sporting arena. So Gina Carano built a career as a mixed martial artist, but before then she was even famous within a smaller community of Muay Thai or kickboxers, but Muay Thai in particular. And she became a world champion. And not only that, when she transitioned over to mixed martial arts, she did an incredible amount for female equality, especially in combat sports, where she was the first to have a sanctioned event in Las Vegas. So the first female mixed martial arts fighter to have a sanctioned event in Las Vegas. And then the first also to be on mainstream media as well, like on Showtime. So he's this tremendously strong woman who's come up through a predominantly male-dominated martial art, who broke barriers, got mainstream, got notoriety and fame, and then basically put mixed martial arts for females on the map, right? And then she took that and realized, probably she didn't want to take any more hits to the head, or she didn't like cutting weight anymore, and the many reasons why, decided to transition into film. And then she built quite a career in the film industry. She was in Deadpool, right? And she starred in a feature film, Haywire. And most recently, people know her coming to fame in The Mandalorian. And that's where on Disney Plus, she rose to probably her height of her stardom. Now, the crazy thing is, here's this incredibly strong woman who's paved the way for other women. And if anything, you would think she would be embraced by the left, but no, they cancelled her. So 3 days ago, she tweeted or retweeted with a comment comparing how in Nazi Germany, it didn't just start off with the Nazis rounding up the Jews. It started off with the government dehumanizing their neighbor, right? And by doing that, it eventually led to more evil and atrocious things, right? But it started off by dehumanizing someone. And she compared that to the government today dehumanizing the other side, right? The left, right, and seeing what's going on today. And I think it was a very fair comment. She's basically saying the government back then dehumanized a group of people and it led to atrocious things. And that was taken as the last resort of this conservative voice, and she was cancelled. Now, what's interesting in the last, I would say, couple of days, the backlash has come out because people, from what they know of Gina and they know of the tweet, it probably wasn't cancelable. So it's not something you would expect people to want to cancel. So the outrage has actually backfired, I believe, on Disney right now, where one of the number one tweets right now trending is cancel Disney Plus.
that should be the title of our podcast.
Yeah, cancel Disney.
Yes. It's interesting too on the backlash because we were watching the Young Turks, and even the Young Turks said her tweet did not cross the line, as if there is a line, but they did not feel she should have been deplatformed and fired for that, because what she actually said was historical fact. That's all she did. She said that in Germany, before the Jews were going en masse to the concentration camps on the trains, that initially it started with neighbors hating the Jews. That's where it started. Hitler came to power, the night of the long knives in 34. In 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, Hitler worked on the populace. He worked on fomenting hate, so that in 1938 they had the Night of the Broken Glass, where there was so much hatred of the Jews that the people actually rose up, the Germans, and they broke the windows out of the jewelers, out of the Jews. So they were seeded, or they were taught to hate. So that by the time 1938 came, 40, 41, the first trains where they rounded up the Jews, the neighbors were okay with it. They had been taught these were odious people that needed to be canceled. What is happening in America? Gina is an odious person that needs to be canceled. Tinfoil was an odious group that needed to be canceled. Milo needs to be canceled. Tucker needs... Anybody that questions the status quo that is deemed politically correct needs to be canceled. And I realize it's a far leap from where we are to what happened in Germany. It's a far leap. However, historically, it started with hating and not listening to a group of people that you felt were other. So now we have the alt-right, we have the Proud Boys, we have the Trumpsters. They're other. They're other. They're dangerous. They're seditious. They're insurrectionists. And then you have the people on the right saying that Biden is a socialist and he's going to lead us into communism. He's other. We hate him. and this divide is getting bigger and bigger.
Well, this is a crazy thing because you could easily, and it's not a stretch in my imagination to say, if they start labeling certain groups domestic terrorists,
And they are.
Yeah,
But
well,
they are.
it's
They
not
are.
it's not long before drone strikes are being approved, right? People think that's crazy because it hasn't happened in the US before, like by the local government. But they do it in other countries, right? So it's happening right now today. So if there is enough support for it on the crazy political spectrum on the left, that they want to silence someone on the right that they see as a terrorist, why isn't assassination off the table? Because it's happening right now today in foreign countries.
And if I don't like an idea, I do not like white supremacy. I do not like fundamentalist, radical religious people. I do not like X, Y, and Z. I respect their right to think how they want to think, and I respect their right to be able to say what they want to say and write what they want to write. In America, it's called free speech, and I respect that. Even if I hate what they're saying, I want them to have the right to say it.
One of the beautiful things about this country is the free capitalist society and democracy, in that I do believe that others will rise up and fill the void in some of these technology companies that are the ones primarily being able to cancel people. So whether it's Parler comes back or who knows what, I really do think that some of these tech companies' days are numbered. And honestly, I'm carefully watching what's happening right now with Tim Cook taking a stand at Apple against advertising with Google. If someone like Apple decided tomorrow that they wanted to compete with Twitter or Google, they could. And I think the market is starting to yearn for alternatives. These monopolies in social media are not a good thing. And we're seeing how easily they can cancel people. And so it'd be great. I'd really love to see some healthier competition in the tech field right now, especially in social media.
And in the meantime, in the marketplace, ladies and gentlemen, there is always the antidote.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
You
Oh,
too.
yeah, and by the way, if you enjoyed the episode, please like, comment, subscribe, and watch some of the other episodes as well. But tell us what you think. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.